On this episode of the CBD University podcast, we head to Mexico and an emerging market for the industry. The latest on regulations and a distributor on the leading edge of bringing our products to Mexico. This is the CBD University podcast, and it starts right now. I'm Joe Augustinelli, host of the CBD University podcast. If you are a returning listener, welcome once again to our podcast. If you are a new listener, we are glad you found us on your podcast platform of choice. A reminder, you can catch full video episodes of the CBD University podcast on our YouTube channel. That's the Global Widget YouTube channel and the YouTube channels of our brands. And speaking of our brands, one of the most frequent questions we get from you, the listeners and viewers, is do you ship to, and you can insert country, city, state name there, or do you know of any distributors who may carry your products where I live? Soon, our guests will elaborate on when CBD products will be available for distribution in Mexico. We are privileged to be joined on this episode remotely, of course. And if you're familiar with our episodes on our YouTube channel, this is another one we're doing via Zoom with our distributors. And I am joined by Marcelo Gracia. He is the Secretary General of ANNICAN, that is the National Cannabis Industry Association. Marcelo, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Joe. Nice to be here with you. Yeah, it's a great question. This cannabis industry is very new for Mexico. And when I was invited to join as a Secretary General of the association, one of my tasks was to bring commercial opportunities in the cannabis space for Mexico. So I started traveling all around the United States in different courses, associations, and I started learning about CBD. I started learning about the companies that are in the CBD space in the United States. And I thought it was very interesting to have a business model for these kind of companies to come into Mexico in the cannabis space. So I think that the best companies like yourselves are the ones suited to come, first of all, to the Mexican market. We just had a very big step in legislation last week, where the Senate voted in favor of the cannabis industry. So we're going to have a lot of movement in these topics next year. We are expecting during December to be approved. It's already voted, but not, the next step is to be publicized and approved. So we're expecting that next month.
And you touched on this a little bit, but how did you hear about Hemp Bombs, Nature's Script, and Perfect Paws Hemp, and what led you to partnering with our brands for distribution in Mexico when it is time to come to do so?
Yes, Global Widget is a well-recognized brand and a key player in the U.S. industry. This is the kind of players that we want in Mexico. Well-suited brands with enough market share, a proven track record, and a variety of products. High quality and the willingness of exploring this new market. We know there is a lot of snake oil in the market, many not so good companies. There is also oil coming from China, which is not very proven. So we want to make sure that the players coming into Mexico are well vetted and professionals in their space.
You know, as you look at potential partners and as you look at potential brands, and you talk about, ones that are well suited to come into space, what's that process like for vetting brands and companies?
As a National Industry Association, we look to have strategic players for the industry. We look for members that meet a lot of criteria, such as good manufacturing practices, some kind of vertical integration, well-recognized brands, maybe different certifications, and a unique approach to market, international capabilities, and having been key players in the U.S. industry. As an industry here in Mexico, we need to set the standards very high. We are looking after being the biggest legal cannabis market in the world. And in order to achieve that, our key cause of must be already at the top level of compliance and quality.
And when we talk about retail locations, I mean, obviously here in the United States, where many of our listeners and viewers are located, they're familiar with the type of retail locations that you can find CBD products. Maybe they're convenience stores, maybe they're health and fitness and wellness stores, maybe they're special boutique shops, maybe they're even, to some extent now the grocery store. What kind of retail locations are suitable for this industry in Mexico?
Like I mentioned, the legislation just came out, but we don't have the rules yet. These rules are going to come out throughout 2021. But I believe that this industry will evolve following the US trends, following the traditional channels such as supermarket, pharmacies, specialty stores, practitioners, and e-commerce. Those traditional channels will prevail here in Mexico as well.
How does the distribution channel change at all, if it does so, regarding each vertical in getting products to that particular retail location?
Yes, I think that the distribution model will be very, very simple. We're very used to the United States legislation, which was very strict. In Mexico, it's going to be very simple. The evolution of the law in Mexico will allow much more relaxed distribution guidelines for this kind of product. With the appropriate partners, you need to understand very well how it's going to work. Of course, there will be strict sanitary guidelines to follow. But that's why the key players and key companies like yourselves and shouldn't have any problems with compliance in Mexico.
And obviously, when it comes to something new like this to retailers, what challenges are there that may be facing retailers in Mexico who want to offer CBD products when they are able to do so? And how are you able to work with them to ensure a smooth migration in getting to that point? And is that something, as you talk about, is that something that the compliance plays hand in hand with, because they know they're doing business with very reputable, compliant, and safe distributors and companies?
Yes, the main challenge right now for Mexico is education. We need to understand what is cannabis first. And afterwards, we need to understand what is CBD. People don't know what is CBD in Mexico. For many people, it's the first time they know that, they hear that. So then buyers don't know what is CBD. And the retailers, of course, don't know what is CBD. So in order for people to make good buying decisions and offer the consumer the best quality products, they need to understand the kind of vertical integration that they are looking for in their products. These kind of CBD products are not generic products, so we need to treat them like such. First, we need to invite everybody to join our association. This is the best way to start learning about the cannabis industry in Mexico and learn your way into the industry. Many companies, international companies, are trying to come in many fields, in agriculture, in science, in investigation, and in commercial, like companies in the CBD space. So we encourage partnering with the right players. We believe that collaboration is the only way for a smooth transition into the Mexican market. As a key player, we will take the guesswork out of the way and help companies start with the right foot. That's the main goal of our association, to help international companies have a smooth migration into Mexico.
Marcelo, just talk a little bit about your work with the National Cannabis Industry Association in Mexico and some of the additional goals of the association.
Yes, our goal at ANNICAN is first to educate everybody about cannabis, to develop this industry to its full potential, creating a green economy. Mexico has been in the dark side for many, many years. We are struggling with security, with economy, with many people struggling. So we need to create an economy based on this new economy, let's say a green economy, as we call it. We need to develop the best farm practices and create the best cannabis product for the world. We are right now doing a lot of work lobbying to have the best legislation. The United States has struggled for many years and they have not come with the right legislation so far. I believe Mexican legislators have done an excellent job and are coming with the right legislation at first. We encourage, as an association, to be a collaborative industry, helping players find other key players of interest. We are promoting research and development of products and services. We are promoting.
Go ahead. Yep, go ahead.
Complete evolution of the industry in all of its fields, Joe. First, we need to treat cannabis as an agricultural product before anything else. And from there, develop the best practices for success. We have the capabilities of creating the best cannabis industry in the world, because we have what I call the 4 Ws, which is weather, water, workers, and the willingness of becoming the best player in the world.
And certainly here in the United States, it seems like something new in the industry just about every day. We've talked about some of the recent developments just in the past week, but what has the journey been like in Mexico to get where you are today?
Our association was created more than 3 years ago. And since then, we have been very active in educating the politicians, first of all, the medical community and the consumers about all the benefits of legalizing in the right way. We don't want to make the same mistakes that other countries has been through in legalizing. We believe that developing this industry with the land and farmers in mind first, we can transform how these practices have been done for decades. We are creating research programs with different entities, schools, and research partners.
And if someone in Mexico is tuning into this episode of the podcast and wanted to learn more about partnering with ANNICAN, where can they go and what can they find out?
Like I mentioned, ANNICAN is the association for the industry. We are the voice of the industry. In annican.org is our webpage, and here you can find a lot of webinars, podcasts, seminars, interviews, and everything about education. We are the best and the only link to companies to find the right way to start and find the right partners in Mexico in this new industry. And we want to welcome everybody in the United States that want to come and be the first players here to join ANNICAN and join us in this new venture in Mexico.
Marcelo, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join me on this episode of the CBD University podcast. We look forward to a long relationship. We'll certainly, definitely have you back to hear how everything is going. Just maybe we can travel for that episode. We'll see what we can do. So
I'd love to be your facility.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'd love to have you here. So once again, I just want to thank you for taking time out of your busy day and joining me for this episode. It's always a privilege to catch up with folks who are leaders in the industry, not only here in the United States, but in your case, outside of the United States, and bring a global perspective to all this. Again, Marcelo Gracia, he is the Secretary General for ANNICAN in Mexico, and you can find out more information about them at ANNICAN. That's ANNICAN.org. Thanks again for joining me, and we certainly will welcome you back anytime on the podcast.
I'll be more than glad, Joe. Thank you very much for everything.
And I thank you for tuning into this episode of the CBD University podcast. Don't forget that you can subscribe to our podcast to receive notifications each week when new episodes are published to your favorite podcast platform, wherever you get your podcast. You can also subscribe on the Global Widget YouTube channel and the YouTube channels of our brands, where you'll see full video episodes of our podcast and get notifications each week when new episodes are ready to be watched. I'm Joe Augustinelli, the host of the CBD University podcast. Thanks for tuning in. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. The CBD products are not intended to treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition. Always consult your personal physician about CBD and using CBD products. CBD should never be used by anyone under the age of 18. This content is not intended to provide legal advice regarding the legal status of CBD and CBD products.